Alright, guys, my bad. There was some issue with the internet, but we are back now. Alright, my bad. There was some issue with the internet, but we're back now. It's actually raining very heavily here, so this is why there's a problem with the internet. But our screen should be visible now. Yeah, there might be some delay as well because raining very heavily here since like the um, past night actually. So just give me just 1 second. I will post up the new link and we will start again. Give me 1 second. All right. So up move in GMDC. All right. So okay. So GMDC actually traded this one. So if you see on the weekly chart what is going on in GMDC, it's trying to break out through this. So first of all, this is a weekly downtrend. All right. If you see, there is a nice move here on the downside. This is the supply for the down move, and this supply holds, and we continue towards the downside. Here, what happens? These supplies break. All right. So this supply is breaking. If you see what is happening here, this one which made the last low here, the supply around 16 January 2023 made the last low. This was broken here and it was consolidating above these supplies. So why did I buy this? First of all, because it was trying to break through this supply. My bad. It was trying to break through this supply right here, and this was the area of weekly demand which it was holding. So this candle, if you see right here, this is what it was holding, and from here on I just bought when it stabilized around the 50 DMA, broke out, came back down and started to go back up. So this is the reason for the entry. Obviously, you can say there was some luck involved because it immediately shot up, but the overall structure, if you see, it was a very well thought out, very well planned uh, trade for me. All right. So whenever I take swing trades, I make sure that I'm targeting something which is extremely strong on the weekly chart. I am not trying to buy into some sort of a downtrending weekly structure, something like this. I'm not trying to buy into stuff like this, where it's trying to break out into the supply just to fall back again. I am participating in stocks when the weekly line starts to go up. So when the weekly EMA starts to go up, this part, that is where I'm participating. When it's flat, I am not participating. I want the weekly momentum to be up, and then you can time your daily entries uh, according to this weekly momentum right here. All right. So same thing with Maharashtra Seamless. It was up. It was holding the weekly demand as well. If you see, this was the last weekly demand. This is where it was stabilizing, and we started to go up recently. So this is where there was an entry. All right, so I'm already holding the stock, so I did not buy again. But I hopefully you guys get the overall point of the trade. All right. So when they are tele tele links, all right, my bad. think it's been there. So again, you could have bought this stock actually today. This was on my watch when it was somewhere around 2100. You could have bought it today. Now, if you ask me, I don't think you should buy this because it's way up into the supply here. So if you see what happens when it goes directly into the supply, it can simply come down. Goes back to demand, goes back up again. So it's basically closing out the range. So what do we want here? We want a sharp pullback and then an immediate reaction to buy the stock on the reaction towards the upside. I don't want to buy a stock directly at the supply when it has already moved up like 7-8% for the day. All right. So this is not something which I am looking forward to buy. All right. So whenever you're buying a stock, make sure that you do not chase the stock when it's going into the supply because it's already up here. Tomorrow it can simply just open gap down. You must have seen this happening with a lot of stocks. This can easily happen to any stock if in a bad market, especially. It can simply just open gap down into the demand again. All right. So again, this is not a recommendation, but again, this is why I bought this yesterday as well. If you see, pushing through the EMA, holding the demand zones, and even in a bad market, it's up. It's up almost 1%. All right. So make sure that you are very, very clear with where you're buying. All right. You don't want to buy when when it has already moved up. It is around the supply, trying to break out. All right. So if you see here as well, dipped down here, went back up, and from the supply came all the way down into the demand, and then there was an immediate breakout. All right. So this can happen in small cap, mid caps. This kind of a candle from the demand zone, they can happen in mid caps. All right. So do not enter when it's already at the supply. You want to leave some room for the stock to go up. You do not want to enter when it's already at the supply. All right. Make sure that you're catching the move from the EMA and not when it's too much, too late. All right. So okay, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right. So HMA Agro. All right. What is going on in HMA Agro? So if you see here again, so I bought somewhere here, I added somewhere here. Obviously, the stock is failing with the market, and these are extended buys as well. If you see the entire base for the stock is somewhere in this area right here. All right. So stock broke out. Now it's back into the base. So now there is no reason for me to sell. All right. So how have I planned this trade? My position size is based on this entire. So my position size is based on the assumption that the stock is going to come down. All right. My position size is based on the assumptions if I'm buying here. I'm already taking into account that the stock can come down till here before it goes back up. So this is already, I'm already considering it. All right. So now it has come down. It's reacting nicely. Let's see what happens. Until this demand zone is broken, there is no reason to exit the stock. And also, uh, I'm not telling you guys that this is a blind buy here. All right. So don't just go in and buy the stock. Just wait for it to settle in. Maybe look for your entry points. This is just an educational uh, sort of an analysis on this stock. All right. So let's look at IDFC First Bank. IDFC First Bank, I am not sure what you want to buy here. It has basically doubled up in a single line. I wouldn't touch this stock at all. All right, just stay away from this stock. It is not worth buying. All right. So let's look at the index. So what happened in Bank Nifty? We have repeatedly talked about these zones. This is the weekly demand zone. From the weekly demand zone, it went back up to the daily supply area, which was right here. All right. And immediately it's down. So if you see this move right here, it is no surprise. People are buying above the 50 DMA and all that stuff. But again, on the hourly, if you see, the majority of the base is around this level. All right. In Nifty also, we had talked about in the last market view video that Nifty will tend to hold this base and start to go up, and it immediately went to the target, which was around 19500, 19600. There was a supply area right there. You see this entire area of supply starting from 19500 goes up till 19600 on the Nifty spot chart, and now it's down, making a new low. So obviously the trend is down on Nifty. If you see, it has broken the zone on Nifty futures as well. If you see, this zone is actually broken, and it went up to the supply, and now it's coming back down. So you always have to make sure that you're aware of the supplies which are making the last high or the lows. All right, you should not be chasing a breakout into a supply. That is the main theme of what I preach every single time. Do not chase a breakout into a supply. It is never worth it. Over a long time, you will see that you are not exactly making any progress. All right, so never chase a breakout into a supply. Just wait for the stock to come back down and then go back up. So Bank Nifty, the zones are somewhere around this area. I've already talked about them. It is okay. Let's just clear it out. So I've also marked the demand. It's reacting from that demand. So the zone, so it's okay. My bad. So this is your zone, which is 44,000 on the spot. So this is a very strong demand zone. If this breaks, then you can expect to see some sort of straight line down move. All right. And this is your area of supply, which is 45,000. So very clear zones. In between these zones, I will not participate. It can spend how many weeks it wants here. I will not participate in this area. Prince pipe. All right, let's look at Prince pipe. Prince pipe is actually decent. It's still kind of extended here. All right, the demand is coming from this level. So if you're buying this, make sure that as soon as this level starts to break, basically today's low, if it starts to break, you need to exit the stock because it's already uh, pushing up. So any failure here will immediately bring it down to 650, 660 levels. All right, the entire demand is actually coming from 650. So if you see the line chart as well, see this is the demand point which I was talking about. All right, very clear higher low here. So you have to start recognizing these sort of um, um, basically pivots if you want to consistently trade near the demand zone. Aster DM. All right, Aster DM healthcare. It is good, but it is also extended. So maybe you could have bought yesterday. It is up, I think, 1% today. It's actually good. So actually, a lot of healthcare stocks are doing good. If you look at different healthcare stocks, they are doing good, and mostly diagnostic and hospital stocks, they are actually doing very decent recently. All right, they're setting up, they're trying to go up. So have a look at these stocks. I cannot discuss uh, what I'm watching openly because obviously it affects the volatility on the stock. But if you want to look at a sector which is currently going up, look at healthcare. A lot of stuff is going on in healthcare. So also on an intraday basis, if you see in Bank Nifty, this is an area of supply which it was struggling in the morning. So if you see the morning candle, this is the morning candle right here. So there is a supply zone at the top, right? The top of the morning candle, there is a supply. This was the supply area from where there was the morning fall, and now and it fell down as well, obviously. So this base right here is a very strong supply. If it actually starts to go through this base, you can maybe get into some maybe overnight longs as well. I wouldn't rule that possibility out. All right. And with this base being broken, it will also start to stabilize above the 50 DMA, 50 hourly EMA as well. All right. So maybe a quick move till even yesterday's supply can happen. It all depends on what it does around this supply. All right. So so maybe some sort of up move can happen in Bank Nifty. All right, Astral. So keep a watch on these healthcare stocks. These healthcare stocks, they might do decent. Astral again, Astral, I think Astral is an FNO stock now, if I'm not wrong. I think from a long time it's an FNO. Yeah, Astral is an FNO stock. So avoid this. I would avoid this. Again, if you see where is the last demand zone, it is right here. So this is not exactly, you know, FNO stock buying far from the demand. I stay away from it. All right. Non FNO stocks tend to move very fast, but FNO stocks, because of the option, uh, basically because of the existence of options, you will see less movement and more time to mature out of a base. But once it goes out of a base, it can go up very fast. But if you see, it will take more time. Look at this area as well. All right. Takes more time to get out of a base. I don't think it was FNO in this time. So maybe look at some of these areas. The moves are fast from a zone, but outside a zone, trading contractions in an FNO stock, I would ignore it. It can obviously go up, but it's not exactly uh, what I trade. These kinds of stocks, I stay away from them. You can look at maybe some peers of Astral if they're doing good. So I think Astral is a pipes stock. So if you look at some, see Prince Pipe is also setting up. So that is one of them. Um, this is also breaking out again. Hari Om pipes as well. So maybe something is going on in pipes. Maybe something is going on in pipes. You're not very far. So this is a different case. So maybe there are other pipe stocks. You can look at those. Apollo pipes. This is decent, not exactly bullish, but still not bearish. Um, all right. So some of those pipe stocks are setting up. So maybe you can sorry you can track this sector. Very decent. Cupid. All right. What is Cupid? What does Cupid do? So it has already broken out, and my genuine advice to you guys: stay away from stocks which do this. Nothing is going on in the company. Just stay away from these stocks. It's been 3 years; it has gone nowhere. All right. So stay away from these stocks. This is not worth your uh, worth your time. Even if there's a breakout, it's going to fail. And obviously, it's very extended now. This is not worth buying anyway. Too far up. Okay, electro steel cast. Uh, Again, I've discussed this time and again. I don't want to buy flat bases. All right. Still, this is all right. This is actually all right. But the problem here is nothing is stopping the stock from maybe doing something like this. So this is your demand. So if I'm buying at the top of the range, nothing is stopping the stock from maybe doing something like this. All right. So be a bit careful here. You can buy this, but be very aware of the demand zone. All right. So your automatic risk here becomes around 8%. So be aware of the demand zone. All right. Don't just jump in here expecting an immediate breakout. If the market goes bad, this can definitely come back down. APIT Tech. Again, too extended here. Um, this is too extended. Look at how it's going up. These are not the stocks which you want to buy. So if you just shift your focus from trading stocks which are sloping up to trading stocks which are forming some sort of a rounding bottom and are in the last part of the rounding bottom, you will immediately see improvements in your trading journey. So look at this range and then look at this part. All right, look at this part. and then look at this part. All right. So whenever you see, so all right, I'll give out some basic advice. Whenever you see some sort of structure on the chart, let's say you're looking at this chart right here. Divide that chart into two parts, two kind of structures. One which is sloping up, and one which is a rounding bottom flat. So there is no new highs here. All right. Everything is contained inside this sort of a rounding bottom structure. If you see here, this part right here is a rounding bottom. All right. So this part is also a flat base, but this part, this is sloping up. All right. So if you see, there are new highs continuously. So immediately avoid this structure. All right. This part, very good rounding base. Again, a very flat base. Very good. This is a very strong entry point here. So immediately divide your stock into these two parts. All right. So again, if you see here, this part is again some sort of a flat structure is here. If you see in this part, all right, but still not good enough for me. So if you see, let's say this stock. So again, this is a proper rounding base, but as soon as it leaves out from the base, it starts sloping up. All right. So try practicing this. Try dividing your stock into these two areas. You will see immediate improvements in your analysis. Right. Breakouts will come out of a rounding bottom. They will not come out of a structure which is already moving up. So if it's already broken out, how can it possibly keep going up without a pullback? Maybe the only way it can keep going up is if the stock is extremely strong, and you don't have any way to know that. All right. So make sure that you only look at rounding bottoms. All right. And obviously uptrending on the weekly as well. Look at this stock. So when the momentum kicks in, this can simply go up like this. All right. So uptrending on the weekly, and when this is happening, the stock went from 1400 to basically 200 rupees. So guys, please stay on the up end right here. Look at this. Look at this part. Majority of the gains are made when the weekly EMA is trending up. All right. You don't need a very sophisticated program to trade swings. Look at the weekly EMA. Start sloping up. Start taking entries on the daily chart. All right. Look at this. Sloping down here. Just ignore it. Now it's starting to go up. So now if it pulls back on the daily, maybe if there is some setup, I will start buying the stock. All right. So same thing here. Sloping down, no gains. All right. The only way that there can be gains in a stock which is downtrending is that when it falls too much and goes back up. So this is your gain. There is literally nothing else to gain. If it starts to go up, it will automatically start trending up. So look at this. All right, continuous gains. So all right, Fortis, yes, Fortis is on my watch, but again, it's actually a bit up now, right? So I won't be buying here, but it is definitely one of the hospital stocks which look good to me. So this is definitely decent, not bad. Electra Green. I am not sure uh, what is good about this, but I don't exactly understand what is going on here. There is a demand zone here which it held. Now it's up like 20% from the demand. So might go up. Obviously, anything can go up again, but this is not a good risk to reward point. If it starts to fall, next target is 20% down. So stay careful here. Manaxia Steel. Okay, this is okay. This may be, yeah. This can go. This is a good one. Um, this is a good one. Keep it on watch. But guys, don't pile on the stocks which we talk about here. All right, we are only talking in an educational content. I don't want to get chased by any regulator, right? So buy at your own risk. I am not responsible for anything. Devyani International, it's downtrending. I think the rally in food stocks is done. Avoid this. It's not good anymore. All right, it's falling down. You see this base right here, very clear base. It is dropping down. All right, breaking this low. So it is bearish now. All right, stay careful. Signed DLM. All right, I haven't checked out signed DLM. I think it's a recent listing. Yeah. Okay, there was an entry. I should have checked it. There was an entry here. Maybe some people from my server bought it, but now it's gone. But yeah, there might there might have been an entry here. There is also a demand zone right here. This hasn't made a new high, but it has broken this supply. So in an IPO, you just use the zone which you get. So pretty decent entry actually, not bad. Instagram handle is full of. Thank you, Rahul. You can obviously uh, share that handle as well with other people who trade in your contacts. This is looking good. Yeah, this is good. Yeah. Again, it's far from your demand, but I guess this is the current theme in the market. You are only getting stuff which is far from the demand. So this is good. Why don't you trade? Okay, maybe this is also listed on BHC. So don't. This is not an IPO. So this is not an IPO. Okay, maybe this is an IPO. My bad. Okay, so this is actually. I will keep this on my watch. HMA Agro. So I've talked about this. The base is right here. Testing the demand, looking all right. I have not exited the stock yet. I am still holding it. So this is still all right. Until this demand zone breaks, until 600 breaks, I will be holding this. Uno Minda has already broken out, I think. And now it's coming back in. So don't buy a stock which has broken out of a big base and it's coming back in. It might go up, but the overhead supply is just too much. All right. It's just too much supply around here. So stay away from stocks like these. There was an entry in Uno Minda right here. Many people from my server got this. Now it's done. You have an active server? Yes, the server is for the people who take the mentorship. The restricted server, not a public server. I don't have any public server anymore. If you see anyone claiming to be me, it's not me. All right. There have been some instances of that in the past. So no public server, no nothing. Only a very restricted server. So this is good. This stock is actually very good. It's also just broken out of the previous high and it is also holding up this demand. So very decent stock. You should definitely keep this on your watch. Very decent. All right, so let's have a look at Bank Nifty. What is going? So still no bearish moves. Also, guys, swing trading is a thing which takes time, especially if you are looking to hold on to stocks. So, so to catch, let's say, to catch something like this, maybe to sit through something like this, you will have to see many stocks which broke down, which break down in your uh, list as well. All right. So you have to shrink down the time which you are exposing, which you are basically getting exposed in the market. You have to shrink that time down. And how do you do? How do you do that? So basically, your first thing is to stay in the direction of the momentum. So stay in the direction of the weekly momentum, monthly momentum as well, maybe. To stay in that direction. All right. Because if you see, and there's a uh, very big gap in understanding among people about the time frame which they're watching and the targets which they're expecting. All right. So if you're watching a daily time frame and you're expecting the stock to go up 50%, 100%, that won't work out most of the time. All right. Sometimes it might work out, but that is when your higher time frame also aligns with the daily time frame, and you're not aware that the higher time frame is supporting you. All right. So, and I'm not laying down any specific rules for your time frame. I'm just talking about how you can understand what time frame you should be using. All right. So let's say I have a stock, let's say Tips India. All right. I'm watching this stock for some reason. And I want to be, so in my strategy, I want to catch, let's say, a 30% move. A 30% move. So if I'm looking at an overall view of the stock, when does it move 30% or more? Does it move 30% when it's in a downtrend? Maybe, who knows? So this is up 30%. All right. 30% here. So how many times does it move 30% in a downtrend? So maybe out of two, three, four tries, it will move once. All right. That too when the downtrend is basically over. How many times does it move 30% in an uptrend? So basically it has gone up 150%. So a lot of times in an uptrend. All right. So again, same thing here if you see a lot of times in an uptrend. So when you are watching a time frame and you want to catch a big move, so you want to see what is your best time to buy the stock, what conditions are best for the stock to go up. Any stock which you pick up, whenever it starts to trade above the weekly EMA, you see it starts to gain momentum. You see the momentum here, you see the momentum throughout this area as well. All right. So there is momentum here, but below the weekly EMA, it's not supporting your chart. So even when on the daily time frame, even if on the daily time frame, the stock looks like it's trying to go up here, I won't buy this because overall on the weekly, it's not exactly doing anything. All right. When will the weekly improve? When there is a breakout first and then there's a pullback and the stock starts to move in that direction. All right. Similarly, if you're trading intraday, if you want to catch a 200-point move in Banknifty, it might happen on some days. You might catch it here. Let's say you want to catch a 100-point move in Nifty. It might happen here where it goes all day in the same direction. All right. But on most days, you won't catch a 100-point move in Nifty. The range is not even 100 points. So if you want to catch 100 points, you have to shift to time frame which is a bit higher. And if you specifically want to trade intraday, you want to be sticking to what you can get, a very realistic expectation of what you can actually get. If I'm buying here, I am only expecting it to go to the supply or maybe make one candle above the supply because I know there is more supply on the left hand side here. All right. So try to see what is the average move on your time frame. All right. I'm talking about an average range bound move because obviously when time frames align together, big moves will happen. All right. So like this, if you see if it goes into a daily supply, a big fall can happen, and you can obviously adjust according to that as well. If it's at the daily supply, I will expect it to go here, so I will maybe hold on to the trade for multiple days. So now that is not a daily trade. That is not an intraday trade anymore. All right. So be aware of different time frames and trade accordingly. So if I'm holding this stock, so let's say I'm holding this stock from 7:30. All right. So I'm looking at this bigger structure here. Let's take this supply itself, and I'm looking at the gap here. All right. So if it goes up till here, there's a very high possibility it will go up till here. All right. Now in my mind, I'm thinking that it can go up till here. So how will I actually manage the trade? I will see how strong the stock is. If it's continuously strong, then I will not touch it till it goes till the target. All right, because there is already a pre-made plan in my head. All right. So again, if I see the stock, let's say here, let's say I am looking at the stock around this part right here, and I'm buying the stock somewhere here. So immediately I'm thinking that this supply is gone. So my immediate target is this supply, and I will end up exiting at the high inevitably. Even though it looks like it's a lucky exit at the high, you can very well plan this exit in advance. Hopefully, and now in a daily chart, on a daily chart, you will be catching somewhere like 20%. All right, but setting random targets, 20% feels like 30% move is going to come, using Fibonacci, all that stuff for targets. That is not a long term profitable business. All right, even though swing trading is very extremely profitable because in India stocks just continuously keep moving up. We are just in that sort of a market, but try to optimize these things one by one. All right, and then you will have a very solid system of trading. All right, Schaeffler India, nothing here. All right, nothing here. This is your area of supply. So at least let the stock break above the 50 DMA. There's nothing here. Mentorship batch has already started. It will start from today. You can send me a DM. I will check your DM. I've seen that you've sent some DMs. I will check them out. Don't worry. All right, Senko Gold. So again, we have talked about this. The majority of the base is here, so don't buy here. All right, if it comes down, sets up, makes a nice rounding bottom again, then you can buy that stock. Do not buy the stock right now. All right. So any other doubts? All right, it's already been an hour, so we'll stop here now. If you have any doubts, you can obviously ask me in the comments as well, and make sure that you like the live as well. Um, I will see you guys again next week in a similar live on a Friday itself, and have a good weekend, I guess.